If you manage Google Ads, you know in your soul how hard it can be to stay on top of pacing. You can't enter your month-to-date budget or conversion goals directly into the Google Ads interface, and you can't track your actual spend and conversions in the dock where your goals live. It's hard to know how you're even performing, let alone what action to take. I'm Amy Hebden with Paid Search Magic, and in this tutorial, we'll look at what a great Google Ads pacing dashboard needs to have and how to use Google Data Studio and Google Sheets to get your own automated pacing dashboards for free. Now, if you want to follow along and build this yourself, you can join the Data Studio Practice Lab to get the Data Studio template and Google Sheet and set up instructions all for free, and you can grab the link in the description. Now, I realize that I'm releasing this right as 1,000 articles are being written about how Claude or whatever AI just killed Data Studio. And there may come a time when we don't have to worry about hallucinations and permission issues or misinterpretations of data with AI, but that day is not today. And what you need today is a source of truth that you can trust, not something that looks impressive but might be very wrong. So let's jump into what this pacing dashboard does, how to connect it to your data, and how to customize it so it works for you. I built the first version of this pacing dashboard about 5 years ago because I had a wish list of very specific things I wanted to track, and I couldn't find anything that did just what I needed. So I'm going to walk you through my top 5 requirements of a pacing dashboard and how this dashboard satisfies each one. The first and most important thing to me was getting KPI snapshots and relationships. I need to understand the relationship between what should happen, like goals and month to date targets, and what is happening. So this dashboard leads with KPIs for spend and return. I know exactly what the goal for the month is, what real time performance is, and how we're pacing. Seeing my key performance indicators in multiple formats like raw numbers, ratios, and percentages helps me understand pacing and data relationships without having to divide large numbers by 30.4 in my head. And comparing month to date goal progress with the month's completion lets me know whether it's time to observe or time to act. So here's how you can take action on dashboard insights in a way that positions you as a strategic partner for your clients. First, if you have hot spend and hot conversions, there's an opportunity to talk to your clients about increasing budget. Because when demand is clearly there, you don't want to leave leads or sales on the table. Next, when you are overpacing on conversions and underpacing on spend, it's time to investigate. Can you use the available budget that you already have to increase volume even more? Now, if you're hot on spend and low on conversions, this is not a position you want to be in, but it's definitely time to optimize for efficiency. Lower bids and budgets and pause or remove poor performers. Finally, if you have low spend and low conversions, you need to adjust expectations. If the demand just isn't there, it might be best to adjust the budget or shift allocated funds to a period that needs it more. Okay, back to the dashboard. The second thing on my list was to be able to see daily progress. I want to see the daily pacing targets that are needed to reach monthly KPIs and whether the account is consistently hitting those targets. What course correction, if any, has happened and what changes still need to be made. I can see that here very easily with daily revenue or daily conversions and daily spend, what the pacing target is and how we're tracking against that pacing target. Third is to zoom out and get context. I want to see how this month's performance compares to recent and long-term trends, and I can do that by looking at the past 30 days as well as the last 13 months. Fourth is I want it to be automated. Unless my budget or revenue goals change mid-month, I shouldn't have to touch or update anything. And finally, I want it to be accessible and shareable. Like, let me access and share with my team or clients without logins, downloads, or attachments. Now, in the 5 years since I've built it, I have probably only shared this with one or two clients. It is designed to be shareable, but I found I it's really more useful as an internal tool. I don't tend to share with clients a lot, but I do keep it in my back pocket and keep it ready to go on client calls because pulling it up on a screen share lets them know everything's under control. Okay, let's talk about connecting your data sources. This report combines two different data sources inside Data Studio. The first is that direct connection to Google Ads for real-time performance data, and the second is a pacing sheet that tracks your goals and budget. So inside the practice lab, you will get access to a Google Sheet with tabs for all of the projects, and you're just going to make a copy of it. Now, depending on whether you're optimizing towards revenue or conversions, you'll choose the corresponding project tab. There's a revenue version and a conversion version, but they both work the same way. There's only three fields you need to fill out, and they're highlighted in green. One is your account name, and this needs to exactly match the account name inside Google Ads. One is your monthly budget, and the other is your goal. Everything else is updated automatically. The current month, the days remaining, the pacing targets, you're good to go after this. Next, you'll make a copy of the Data Studio report so that you can connect your own data. When you create a copy, Data Studio gives you the option to swap the original data source with your own. And this is definitely the easiest option. You basically just replace the existing source with yours on the back end. But inside the practice lab, that doesn't always make sense as a one-to-one replacement. And that's because all the projects reference the same sample Google Ads data source. So that one-to-one replacement might not work for you. So instead of replacing everything immediately, I'm going to show you how to update the data source manually on the back end step by step. Now go ahead and make a copy of the report and save it, and then we'll walk through connecting everything together. Now, when you first look at the pacing dashboards that use sample data, they will probably look like a ghost town, and that's because Google Ads sample data has not been active in over a year. So once you connect your own live data, the dashboard will make a lot more sense. So what you're going to do is just click on any chart and you'll see the data source. And if it says sample Google Ads, you're just going to go and select your own Google Ads chart or Google Ads source, and you'll see it update right away. So let's just do that again. Click on the chart, says sample, and then update it with yours. Now you'll also notice another source that's blended data, and you'll see these two merging arrows, and we're not going to change this, we're going to edit it. So click on the little pencil for edit data source, and then update the sheet to the pacing sheet or tab that you have, and then just make sure that the Google Ads source is updated from sample data to your actual Google Ads source. Now, in the process of updating this, you may see that the join function kind of disappears, and so you're going to just reconnect it by clicking right here. Make sure you select inner, and then make sure that the merge conditions are still there. So if it says add a field, just make sure that over on the left it says account, and on the right it's going to say account name. This is from Google Ads and this one is from Google Sheets, and they're linked, so you need to make sure that again that you're using the exact account name, and then go ahead and hit save and close that out. In this last section, we're going to customize the dashboard and walk through a few common troubleshooting issues. So let's start up here with the pacing widget. Now, the on track or under pacing or over pacing labels, or whatever they may be, are powered by a case statement. Let me click in there. Okay, here we go. So you can see that by default, the dashboard uses a threshold of plus or minus 10% compared to the month to date target. You can definitely change this if you want tighter thresholds. You can just change this number so that it creates a tighter threshold. Just edit the case statement formula. Now you can also customize the message itself, like if you wanted to say slightly under pacing or add more things in here, just create new when conditions, and you can do that. Now, the background and text color of the widget is controlled in the style panel, and it's controlled by conditional formatting. So if that's something you want to change, just go in here and you can edit those rules and change how it appears right now. Depending on if it's the budget or the revenue, it's going to look differently to try to, basically just operate like a normal alert would. Now, the gauges are fully customizable, but they're not automated. So you're going to control those in the style panel. Just scroll down to the axis. It says show axis min and max, and you can set that maximum to what the actual goal is. Now let's jump down here for the charts. You'll see that for both the daily goal pacing and your daily spend pacing, you have two different metrics. One is cost and one is pacing. Now, cost comes directly from your data source. Pacing is a calculated field. So we're going to click into that. And what you'll see here is a formula that has a hard-coded pacing target. So you already know what your pacing target is. You're just going to enter it in here. And then you're going to hit, I mean, it should already be populated here, but just in case it's not or you want to change it, it's plus, and then we're bringing in a metric just to kind of, so this is going to work. And then that metric's times 0. And we're multiplying the metric times 0 because we don't want a plus. We just want this number, but we need to give the formula something. And so it's just something times 0. And that's how you're going to come up with the kind of pacing line. So just to look that again, we'll go over to daily revenue pacing. We'll click on the function. It's this pacing target and then plus some metric times 0. And that's how you get it. Now, one important thing to remember is that if you hard code anything and then that goal changes, you also want to make sure you change the number that you hard coded so that everything stays accurate. Now, one thing I like to do when I'm setting something up for the first time is just making sure that everything kind of zeroes out and checks out. So my conversion goal here is 150. My month to date target is 87. I have 85 conversions and there's 2 left to hit that target. So 85 plus 2 is 87. That looks right. Checking on the month completed date, 58% plus month remaining, 42%, 58 plus 42 is 100, and just go through every single thing just to make sure that where where you're at makes sense and that nothing got overlooked. Now, let's go through a few quick troubleshooting scenarios. If you see no data or null errors, first thing you want to check is that the account name in the Google Sheet matches exactly the account name inside Google Ads. This is the most common reason that things don't match up. So check for typos or extra spaces. And then also make sure you are connected to a Google Ads data source, not Google Analytics, About, Google Ads. There's a different connectors, and this dashboard only works directly with Google Ads. If the pacing numbers are wrong, also one thing to do is make sure that your default date range is for this month. It should be custom, not auto. Auto is going to give you some unexpected data that is not necessarily going to be correct, and it's going to throw off the pacing calculations. And if the gauges look wrong, just double check that you set the min and max to accurately match what it is you're trying to do. It's easy to overlook and forget that you hard coded something. So just give that a once over to make sure that that's correct. So that is the pacing dashboard, what it does, how to connect it, how it works, and how to make it your own. You can access this project and all the other projects inside Data Studio Practice Lab completely free. The link is in the description and you get the Google Sheets, the Data Studio templates, the tutorials, everything you need to be successful. Now, if this saves you time or gave you some new ideas as something to try, please hit like and follow for more. And if you have any questions at all or any requests for things you'd like to see in the future, just leave it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.